So the lecture today here, the digestive system. So what I want to ask you, so is there any, because see, most of the topics now from now onwards they will be like that, because you have more material than from the beginning. You have to study hard. Okay, one thing you remember, because as your course progress day by day, you will have more information. So you will not give we will not give only 2 or 3 slides, or less slides, less content. It is not possible. Okay, because you should know all the things, and you should learn all the things. See, the regarding the first question, what is the first question? It is the conducting system of the heart. The question is clear. In the conducting system of the heart, your answer is SA node, AV node, right and left bundle branch, Purkinje fibers, all these 5 contents. Okay. So that most of the boys, they are not written. Okay, here in the digestive system, what I mean to ask you, so you have any doubts, we will discuss. Didn't understand means I can't say, I am not given anything, any questions out of the topic, and which I have not told, and which is out of the lecture class or PowerPoint given. Okay. See, anything you are not understood in the digestive system, any part, because if you clarify, then only we can discuss. If you have any doubts anywhere, any part, or if it is the smallest thing also, you can ask me. You can clear what are, so here you should remember the nerve supply, the anterior, what is the nerve supply of the tongue, of the anterior 2/3, posterior 2/3, and the base of the tongue. You should remember all these things, because if any one nerve damages, so there will be a damage of that area of the tongue. The final again, it is not at again it's 40, then 20, 40, 20, 60. Again, it's mostly 40 marks, I think. Okay, that I will tell in the meantime. I will tell. It is not yet completely framed. So how much? Because we have to give some. We are giving some assignments also for you. Okay, and then the practical exam, and then the final exam. So these things we have to distribute the marks. So that's whatever it is, I will tell you the distribution. No need to worry about that. And then next, so these are the anomalies. So did you understood what is the pharynx? Is there any doubts in the pharynx? To recognize, to identify the nasopharynx or oropharynx or laryngopharynx. If you have any difficulty in the understanding of all these 3 parts, and from where the pharynx starts. Pharynx starts from the base of the skull here, It is starting from base of the skull to the sixth cervical vertebra. It is up to the sixth cervical vertebra. And when we see anteriorly or in a front view, so what are the things we are going to see? If you see from the front, when the mouth is wide open, you will see these structure: posterior nasal aperture, and then opening of oral cavity, and then laryngeal inlet. So laryngeal inlet means it is the opening of the, also for oxygen, that is that is a physiological part, the oxygen transportation, oxygen, carbon dioxide. So that part, that is comes under physiology. Okay. Next, anything. So did you understood what is nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx? So any doubts to identification of these parts? Anyone? So these things are clear. What is oropharynx? What do you mean by laryngopharynx? What do you mean by nasopharynx? Yeah. And then one more thing. So here nasopharyngeal tonsil. These are also. So this is the another structure. So where these tonsils they are present? They are present over this area. So where I am putting the line. So this area. So they have a nasopharyngeal tonsils. And then this is the opening of eustachian tube or auditory tube also. So they will call auditory tube. So what is nasopharynx? So those who know the answer, they can instead of write can speak also. No problem. What is nasopharynx? It is a part behind which structure? It is a part behind the nose, like that. Same as the oropharynx, part behind the oral cavity, and the laryngopharynx behind the behind the larynx. See, that's what. See, what do you mean by parts here? I am telling this is the superior part, and this is the middle part, and the inferior part. So inferior part, nasopharynx here. Nasopharynx is superior or the upper part. Okay. It is present at the top. So if you come from above downwards. And then oropharynx, it is in the middle. And then laryngopharynx, it is in the inferior or below. So this is clear here. To understand what are the meaning of superior, middle, and inferior. Okay, suppose if I ask the question, which is the middle part of the pharynx? So what you should write? What you should write? Yes, oropharynx. Say like that. So which is the superior part of the pharynx? Nasopharynx. Or sometimes. So sometimes if I ask, so which is the upper part of the pharynx? Upper part of the pharynx. That is nasopharynx. See, you should, the questions, so where you people are, so you should not confuse. So what is the meaning of superior? So there are only three parts: superior, middle, and inferior. Superior means upper, inferior means below. That is how the exams are. All the exams, when you prepare for your international exams also, they will, so they will not give, so they are not giving anything same as in the topic. So why the exams we conduct the exam? How much you people understanding the subject? That is most important. Okay. Yes. So next. So here then the communication, how it is communicated. The nasopharynx, how they are communicated. Oropharynx, how they are communicated. And then laryngopharynx, how they are communicated. These three structures, by these three structures, all these parts of the pharynx, they are intercommunicated. They communicated with posterior nasal aperture, oropharyngeal isthmus, and laryngeal inlet. Okay, okay, okay. So all are giving good smiles. Thanks. That is like a spirit. Okay, you should not be disheartened. Then what you understood in the esophagus? Is there any doubts in the esophagus? From where it starts? Here you should know from where it starts. Okay, esophagus. So where it starts means or the joining place. Okay, from where it begins. So like this, the questions will come, and where it ends or where it joins at the stomach. At what level the esophagus join to the stomach, like that. You should answer the T10 thoracic vertebra. And then what movements you will find in the esophagus? You will find peristalsis movement. So what is this peristalsis movement? Peristalsis movements, so they are, so whenever any subjects comes in the esophagus, so anything comes in the esophagus, it will not go up. Okay, it will not go up. This is wrong. So always it goes down. The down movement, it is called peristalsis, or whatever any subject moving forward in the intestine also you will find peristalsis. So everything it is going down or forward. Okay. And then, so did you understood about the parts of the esophagus? So there are three parts: cervical, thoracic part, and the abdominal part. So where the abdominal part, it is very small. Here this is the abdominal part, and then here this side. So the thoracic part is larger. The thoracic part is large, and the second large part is cervical. Okay, the cervical is 4 centimeter, thoracic is 20 centimeters, and the abdominal part is 1 to 2 centimeters. Okay, so what you understood? The superior border of mediastinum. So from where it's the cervical parts, the lower border of cricoid cartilage. So there is a cartilage which is present in the larynx. This is the cricoid cartilage, is the cartilage of the larynx. From there, at that level, it starts. And then in the last class also I told, so don't worry about the measurements. So these measurements is not required. Don't worry about this, and you should know the constrictions. So this thing you should know. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there are 4 constrictions, and all these constrictions are at what level? What level you will find what constrictions. Okay. And then about the stomach. Here you should know the shape of the stomach and what are the openings present in the stomach. So there are two openings, that is cardiac opening. So cardiac opening means, so why it is called cardiac opening? So anyone can guess why it is called the cardiac opening? Anything? Anyone can? Very good, very good. I can't read the Arabic. The person who has written this, it's exactly the correct answer. Okay. Okay, whoever it is, because it's a very good answer. Because here you have the, so this is the here. Okay. Here you had heart, and then along with this you have a lungs also. Okay. So whatever. So whenever, sometimes you might have heard all these things. So whenever you have some irritation in the throat and all, so that time you will be, what they will tell? So they will tell you might have you are having mostly gas problem, and most of the time, so this gastric irritation, it is confused to the heart attack. Okay, so that thing, so it is a very big discussion. So just remember, it is near to the heart, this cardiac. That is why the name is called cardiac area or whatever it is. Okay. And then the pylorus opening. The pylorus opening, it is at the lower side. And then what are the structures present at the curvatures? Lesser curvature and greater curvature. This is the lesser curvature, and this the below here. This one is the greater curvature. What structures attaches at these areas? And then remember all the parts of the stomach. What are the parts of the stomach? One's body, pyloric antrum, pyloric canal, and then cardiac notch, and then angular incisorius. What is angular incisorius? So this is the part where the body of the stomach and the pylorus, the junction of the body and the pylorus. So it makes an angle or a notch like structure. So you understood what are the parts of small intestine, how the small intestine begins. It begins from the pyloric part of the stomach, and then it joins. So where it joins? It joins at the ileocecal junction here at this level. Ileum and cecum, where the ileum joins with the cecum. This is cecum. Okay. So is there any doubts till now? What you didn't understood? And in this picture, so I will tell. So what is there here? See the structures of the difference of the small intestine and the large intestine. The large intestine, it is a plain tube-like structure. So it is not, it's a simple tube-like structure. Now you see the large intestine. Large intestine, it is not plain. It is having some pouch-like structures. Okay. So these pouch-like structures, they are called sacules. And one more thing. So how this small intestine is connected? So the small intestine, it's connected by a peritoneum. The peritoneum which connects the small intestine is called mesentery. Okay. Is it clear? For the mesentery, what do you mean by mesentery? The peritoneum, it is the peritoneum which connects the small intestine. So that is the meaning of mesentery. Okay. Next. And you should know the difference of jejunum and the ileum. The main identification feature of the ileum is the presence of Peyer's patches. Okay. So what are these Peyer's patches? These Peyer's patches are lymphatic follicles. So they are the large lymphatic follicles present in the ileum. They are called Peyer's patches. Okay. At the same time, you should know how the mucosa is and what are the folds, how the mucosal folds in the jejunum and the ileum. So here they are large and they are small. In the ileum they are small. And when the ileum, the part of when the ileum distance means when the ileum enlarges after taking the food, it disappears. Okay. So these are the some differences you should know. So did you understand what is how the large intestine, what are the parts of the large intestine, which is which part? Okay. So I will ask one question. What is the another name of right colic flexure? And what is the another name of left colic flexure? No. Ascending colon is different and the flexure is different. This right colic flexure is called, very good, very good. The person who is telling the hepatic flexure is very good. So that's what I told you. I can't read Arabic. So otherwise I could have called you by name only. So it is the right colic flexure is also called hepatic. Why it is called hepatic flexure? Why it is called hepatic flexure? Right? You don't know? Because on the left side of the body, you have the liver. Hepatic means liver. Always remember, hepatic means liver. Okay. Next. So what is the other name of left colic flexure? Left colic flexure. Left colic flexure is called, what is another name? One minute. Yes, very good, very good. Those who are answered the splenic flexure. Why it is called splenic? Because so it is called splenic flexure. Okay. Right one is called hepatic flexure, left one is called splenic flexure. So now the understanding the parts will be very easy according to this. How I will tell. The beginning of the large intestine is, this is the this one is the cecum, and then it is going up, ascending colon. Now what happens? When it goes up, now it will bend. Flexure means it is a bend. Always remember, flexure means it is a bend or a turn. Okay? When it is a straight road, when you are going in the straight road, now you have to take a turn or a bend. And then there is another bend that is called do I need to remain that? Yes, you should remember. So because of this, you can understand the intestines. Okay. Remember the parts of the intestines. What are the parts? Ascending colon, cecum, ascending colon, right colic flexure, transverse colon, left colic flexure, descending colon, sigmoid colon, like this. Okay. And then from where to where they are all. No. That you leave it. No problem. Because we are not given in the slide, and sometimes if we ask the question, so again you may question. So that part you don't worry about the another name. Okay. So next, remember from where to where the extension of these structures. Okay. So what are these? Saccules. So I was telling about the saccules in the large intestine. These are the main identification features of the large intestine. Okay. So one thing, the large intestine means, don't remember the large intestine is very large. See here, the length of the small intestine and the large intestine. The large intestine, it is not large in the length. Large intestine, it is large in the diameter. Okay. On the lengthwise, the small intestine is larger and the large intestine is the smaller. It is a reverse, vice versa. Okay. Next, So you should remember all these differences. Next we'll go to liver. So anything you didn't understood in the liver, if you have any doubts in the liver, falciform ligament, fissure for ligamentum teres and ligamentum venosum. All these three ligaments, they divide the liver into right and left lobes according to the area where they are present. Okay. So which are the surfaces are joining to form diaphragmatic surface, and which are the surfaces joining to form visceral surface? And then function not required. Okay. Next, remember all these things. So what are the structures related to the liver? Okay. The structures related to the liver are the stomach, gastric area and the pyloric area. The stomach, the gastric area means the body of the stomach, and the pyloric part of the stomach is related to the liver, and the duodenum is also attached to the what yellow substance? What is the yellow substance? I didn't get. So whenever the practical exam, it is not still there is a time. So when it is there, I will announce and how the practical exam will be conducted. Still we don't have any information how to conduct the practical exams. Okay. Any information, do see, I will tell all of you any information regarding exam, we will announce you and it will be clear. Okay. And then the other structures which are related to the liver, they are gallbladder, right colic flexure, and right, or it's a transverse colon also. So these are called the colic areas. So what is the renal area? Renal area where the right kidney and right suprarenal gland is attached to the liver. Okay. What is the blood supply? The portal vein and the hepatic artery are the blood supply to the liver. Did you understood the gallbladder? The duct system of the gallbladder? Parts of the gallbladder, and what is cystic duct? What is hepatic duct? And what is common bile duct? Okay. See here. So this is the duct system of the biliary tract, or it is also called excretory part of biliary system. Yeah, substance only. Which yellow substance in this picture? In this picture, the yellow substance, that is the pancreas, or in the liver you are asking. No, you can speak also. You can speak in the mic. Yeah, that's what I am not understanding your question. You open your speaker and you talk. Yes. See what you are asking. You speak better. See, instead of writing, it is better you speak in the mic. So sometimes there is a confusion in the questions also. 1 minute. Okay. So better if you speak, I can. So it is cleared me to clear your questions. So here, so did you understood this bile, this duct system, how they are arranged? What do you mean by common bile duct, hepatic duct? Okay. So here, what? So there are two right and left hepatic ducts. Okay. So these hepatic ducts, what happens? These hepatic ducts, they join to form common hepatic duct. Okay. So there are right and left hepatic duct. They join to form common hepatic duct like this. This, and then it joins. So these are the two hepatic ducts and they form common bile duct, or not this. Here and here, and then they form common hepatic duct. Okay. Then, so there is another duct which is coming from the gallbladder. What is that? That is cystic duct. So this is coming like this. Okay. Okay, so this cystic duct, it joins with a common hepatic duct and then it continues as a bile duct here. So where it joins, so this goes to the duodenum here. Here you have a duodenum, it joins there. So along with this, so what happened, there is another duct which is coming from the pancreas. See here, this is the bile duct. Bile duct, it is also called the bile duct and sometimes it is also called common bile duct also. Both are same here. So here common bile duct or bile duct, both are same. Then this pancreatic duct, it joins, see here, it is joining both this bile duct and the pancreatic duct. They are joining together and enters into the duodenum. So which part of the duodenum? This is very, very important. It is the second part of the duodenum. Okay. Next. And then it is the same like parts of the pancreas you should know. Okay. In the pancreas, you should remember the parts of the pancreas and then where the head is present. Where the head is present, it is bile yellow matter. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, yes. That is you are correct. What you are telling, the bile is a yellow color matter. Yes. And then where the head of the pancreas is present and what are the parts of the pancreas and where the tail is present in the splenorenal ligament and attaches to the hilum of the spleen, that, and then, so what are the things, the at the tail of the pancreas you will find the more number of islets of Langerhans. So these these cells, they helps in the secretion of the insulin. Okay. Okay. That is clear here. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, if it is clear, shall we close? Doctor, what are the common causes of pancreatic dysfunction which leads to them? So there is, because in the pancreas, what happens? The secretion, see here, the islets, the cells may be, the islets of Langerhans cells, the cells may be secreting more insulin. Okay. The secretion will be, when the secretion is increased, the insulin secretion or glucose secretion increase, or sometimes there may be a decrease in the secretion also. This is according to the genetical disorder, how the pancreas is taking place. Okay. So all the things, it is a depends upon the production of insulin and glucagon or glucose. So it's clear now. So if it is clear, shall we close the session? In the next session, again, I will repeat the video. Okay. In the practical session,